Howdy friendos, my name is Stuart, and welcome to part 3 of our Matrix Trilogy. If you missed it, we also did Morpheus and Agent Smith from these movies in honor of the release of Matrix Ressurections. For real, you guys don't know how hyped I actually am for that movie. The Matrix Trilogy was my first R-rated movie I was allowed to watch as a kid, and more importantly, it was the first movie to really introduce philosophical discussions and human complexity to me, for better or worse. And with all that, let's finish off our Matrix Trilogy and cover the messianic protagonist of the franchise, Thomas Anderson, aka Neo, aka The One. So, fun fact, a lot of actors were almost cast in Neo before it fell to Keanu. Brandon Lee was the original pick before his tragic death during the filming of The Crow. The role was also offered to several people, including Ewan McGregor, Will Smith, and even Sandra Bullock, really? I actually did not know that. My assistant writer, Cinema, actually wrote that, and I had no idea. That's really cool. Anyway, portrayed by Keanu Reeves, Neo is our ride-along character who lives in Metro City, USA, as a software programmer by daylight and gray hat hacker by night. Over the course of the first movie, he learns of the mysterious Morpheus and, in time, is brought into the truth that he and several others are trapped in a virtual reality called the Matrix. Once unplugged, he begins learning that he is destined to become the Christ-like figure that will end the war with the machines, known as The One. No pressure, buddy. Starting the film as Thomas Anderson, Neo is a man simply living in the Matrix. However, it's clear that he is living a double life. Despite the fact that he isn't red-pilled yet, he is aware that something is wrong with the world. By the time the movie begins, he is already moderately famous as a hacker and is already known as Neo by his associates. And while it's not clear what exactly he does as a hacker, we do know that he distrusts and disrespects authority. Even though, according to Agent Smith, he regularly helps his neighbor in carrying out her groceries, we're going to go ahead and label Neo at the beginning of these movies as chaotic neutral. As a bit of the benefit of the doubt, we will lean him slightly towards neutral good just to show that he does care a little bit for other people, but Neo in his heart and soul is a rebel that distrusts everyone around him and is a bit of a solo player. We even see this as he's approached by Trinity and Morpheus that he's very suspicious of their behavior and he almost leaves the car before he can even get red-pilled. But with all that out of the way, let's go!
My name is Neo.
One night, while looking for clues about the Matrix and Morpheus, Neo is woken up by a cryptic clue from his computer and follows the White Rabbit. He sells his wares to some clientele and is offered to join them. While he starts to say no because of their work, Neo goes along when he sees one of them has a familiar tattoo. Neutral.
Hello, Neo.
Meeting Trinity at the club and learning Morpheus is looking for him, Neo is late to work and reprimanded. He's about to start his normal day when Morpheus contacts him, warning him about the agents. He follows Morpheus's instructions at first before getting too scared and getting captured, chaotic neutral.
We're willing to wipe the slate clean, give you a fresh start.
Given the chance to expunge his record in exchange for Morpheus, Neo gives the finger and asks for a phone call instead. His opposition is silenced, sadly, by Smith and the agents. Normally, I'd argue that fingering the government is always chaotic good, especially since he's kinda helping Morpheus, but this is more chaotic neutral.
This line is tapped, so I must be brief.
Rescued by Morpheus, Neo is debugged and given the choice to finally meet him. The two talk about fate versus free will and a brief hint of the Matrix before Neo is given the famous choice. Wanting to learn the truth that's haunted him, Neo takes the red pill. Neutral. Rescued by Morpheus and the crew of the Neb, Neo learns his life has been a lie inside the Matrix. He understandably freaks out, but he does come to accept the hard truth, chaotic neutral.
How about some more? Hell yes.
Neo begins training non-stop in several training programs. It's thanks to Morpheus, though, that he begins to learn how to bend the Matrix around him. With some failures, of course. Even the Messiah is prone to being chaotic horny.
You're the Oracle?
Brought back into the Matrix proper, Neo meets the Oracle after meeting a quotable potential. It's a great scene in retrospect as we see Neo come face to face with someone who can actually see fate and prophecy. Allegedly. I think after Resurrections, I'll do a dive into the Oracle as a character. With his lingering doubts, Neo is told that he is not the one. He is told one tidbit of important choice that he will need to make. Neutral.
Oh, déjà vu.
Catching a case of déjà vu, Neo and the others try to escape a glitch in the Matrix set up by Smith and Cypher, then try to escape stealthily, but Morpheus sacrifices himself so the others can escape. Something Neo is against, chaotic good.
Well, there has to be something that we can do. there is, we pull the plug.
After escaping Cypher's death trap and learning Morpheus is in danger, Tank, the Neb's operator, suggests pulling the plug on Morpheus to save Zion. Trinity eventually relents, but Neo realizes this is the choice that he must make. He decides to go back in with Trinity's help. Chaotic good. Ooh, time to begin some nat 20s, and there's gonna be a lot in the second half of the movie, just a heads up. Neo and Trinity blast their way through the security to rescue Morpheus. They are killing a lot of people, but it's in conjunction with Morpheus' words that they are supporting the agents. During all of this, Neo begins opening his mind more, manipulating the Matrix. It ends with Trinity flying him to the window before he just starts blasting the agents away with a Gatling gun. Chaotic good, nat 20 fight. A lot of them.
Gotcha.
Neo saves both Morpheus from a fall and Trinity from a helicopter crash with his skills. Once again, he tries to tell Morpheus the truth, but his captain won't hear it. Neutral good. Nat 20 scene! We focus a lot of this already on Smith's episode, but the symbolism for Neo is important to note. Neo, now referring to himself as his Red Pill alias and not the dead name of Mr. Anderson, decides to fight back against Smith despite all the warnings he received. And in the end, managing to best Smith temporarily is all pretty incredible. Nat 20 scene, chaotic good. Realizing the agents are going to keep coming no matter what, Neo runs away, avoiding further conflict with the agents and dragging anyone else in. However, sadly, he is killed by Smith. Neutral. He gets better.
No.
Neo awakens his powers thanks to Trinity. Revived and empowered, he makes quick work of Smith, stops bullets, and escapes the Matrix just in time for Morpheus to activate the EMP. Neutral good.
I know you're out there.
Calling the machines and accepting his role as the One, Neo gives his enemies a warning before flying off. Time to get to work. Chaotic good. For 6 months, Neo helps more blue pills and raises Zion's numbers, more than what has been accomplished in 6 years. This includes the kid, as he becomes a bigger presence for Zion's populace. However, with these new skills comes a constant, seemingly prophetic dream of Trinity dying. Lawful good. During the meeting of the Red Pills, Neo senses Smith and the upgraded agents nearby. Neo stays long enough for most of the crew to escape the Matrix before trying to find the hidden Oracle. Lawful good. Neo tries to be a figurehead as best as possible to the people of Zion. Considering this is still under a year since he's been unplugged, Neo is uncomfortable and overwhelmed, wanting to be with Trinity. Still, he fulfills his obligations. Plus, hey, he gets to see her again at the rave. Lawful good.
Neo. It's from the Oracle.
Receiving word from the Oracle, Neo returns to the Matrix and meets with Seraph. Proving himself, Neo meets with the Oracle and learns about exiled programs and his upcoming role. Unlike the last time they talked, Neo isn't doubtful or unsure. He says with certainty in his dream, Trinity won't die. Something the Oracle is proud of. Lawful good.
Mr. Anderson.
Nat 20 scene once again with Smith and Neo. It's a great fight scene as we see Neo against the army of Smiths and even the limits of the One. In the end, realizing he's outmanned and being overpowered, Neo is forced to flee to fulfill his destiny. Nat 20 fight, neutral.
Here he is at last, Neo.
Neo and the gang meet the Merovingian, and it's thanks to Neo that they realize that there's bombs everywhere and are polite when asking about the Keymaker. Sadly, even when Neo tries to be assertive, he is unable to convince Merovingian. Lawful neutral.
I'll give you what you want, but you have to give me something.
I forgot about this scene. Approached by Persephone, Merovingian's wife, Neo is offered the Keymaker in exchange for a passionate kiss. He only goes through with it after Trinity's okay and even flubs the first time. Trinity really shouldn't worry about it. Persephone isn't interested in Neo. She just wants good kissers. This was weird. Lawful good. Neo fights the Merovingian's minions to give Morpheus and Trinity enough time to escape with the rescued Keymaker. Unfortunately, he is left at the Merovingian's estate while everyone else has a Nat 20 scene without him. Sad. Neutral good. Flying at supersonic speeds, Neo saves Morpheus and the Keymaker from the freeway. Neutral good.
I want to ask you to do something, but I don't know how.
With everyone preparing to get Neo to the source, Neo pulls Trinity aside. He becomes worried about his dream and asks her to stay out for her own safety. Chaotic good.
I'm sorry, this is a dead end.
Neo runs into Smith standing between him and the source. With Morpheus and Keymaker's help, Neo is able to break through and finally make it to the goal. Neutral good.
Hello, Neo.
Who are you?
I am the architect.
Okay, so I'll do my best to explain this, but it does get confusing. Neo meets with the architect, the father of the Matrix. During this very long conversation, Neo learns that the One and the prophecy are in fact another form of control from the machines. The One is an anomaly in the Matrix and is randomly assigned to someone who will travel to the source and restart Zion in a never-ending loop. Neo is the sixth, the One, and he is given a choice. He can save 23 other people in Zion to restart the human race there, like his 5 predecessors, ergo continuing the Matrix. On the other hand, Neo can go against the prophecy, save Trinity, but doom all of humanity and Zion. Despite what's ahead and the architect's words of warning, Neo leaves to save Trinity and not fulfill his duty. Chaotic good, and I understand if you're going to hesitate on that, but wait until the post-analysis. I do discuss that later. Much like Aang in Season 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender, or Luke in Empire Strikes Back, Neo rushes to save Trinity's life. Saving her in midair, Neo pulls the bullet out of her and revives her. Chaotic good.
That's impossible. The prophecy tells us.
It was a lie, Morpheus.
Neo breaks the news to everyone that the prophecy is a lie and they only have a few hours to find another way to end a war. Unfortunately for all of them, they are attacked by Sentinels as he and the others run. Lawful good. Realizing something has changed since he's left the source, Neo uses his powers outside of the Matrix and short-circuits the Sentinels. This, however, causes him to fall into a coma, neutral good.
Good morning.
Awakening in between the Matrix and the Source, Neo attempts to escape the station with the other programs with the aid of Merovingian's Train Man. Unfortunately, Neo is caught and taught who's in charge. Chaotic neutral.
Shit.
Gaining another vision, Neo is rescued by Trinity and Morpheus. He goes to speak with the Oracle about what has happened and his next best course of action. Much like before, Neo has gained a better understanding of his role and himself. He knows now his path will end both at the Machine City and the one person who will stop him, Smith. Lawful good.
I know what I have to do.
After taking a moment to think, Neo asks for a ship to go to the Machine City, fully aware of the dangers. He doesn't ask anyone to come with him. In the end, Trinity volunteers to fly the Logos after Niobe lends it out. While Neo and Trinity are terrified, they know that this is what they must do. With one final goodbye, he bids Morpheus a farewell. Lawful good.
Shoot now.
Yes. Shoot. Fry us. Burn us alive.
Do it.
Face to face with Smithbane, Neo disarms himself to save Trinity. The two fight before Neo is blinded, but this also allows Neo to access his new abilities and stop Smithbane. Lawful good. Neo and Trinity begin breaking through the Machine City's defenses. They do their best and even see the actual sun before they crash. Well, at least Trinity does. Neo is banged up, but Trinity is impaled by the debris. He stays with her as she dies, motivated to continue thanks to her words. Lawful good.
I only ask to say what I've come to say. After that, do what you want, and I won't try and stop you.
Entering the city on his own, Neo makes a deal with Deus Ex Machina, great name by the way, the central interface for the machines. If Zion is spared and a ceasefire started with the humans, Neo will defeat Smith, who has completely overtaken the Matrix. Neo knows his chances of walking out of there are non-existent, but he's at peace with this and stands his ground. With one last confirmation, Neo jacks into the Matrix one last time. Lawful good. Our final Nat 20 fight with our main hero and main villain. Returning to a now Smithified Matrix, Neo fights his superpowered nemesis. Despite everything, Neo chooses to keep fighting and save everyone he loves. Lawful good.
Everything that has a beginning has an end, Neo.
Given a clue by the Oracle, Neo allows himself to be corrupted by Smith. This saves the Matrix and Zion, but seemingly kills Neo. His body is dragged away by the machines. Yet some say, despite his supposed death, Neo is still out there somewhere. We'll talk about that later. I find Neo to be an interesting protagonist because, well, he's kind of uninteresting as a protagonist. A lot of criticism is made because Neo himself is incredibly stale and stiff throughout the movies, and I think that's definitely on purpose. First of all, Neo not having a personality is somewhat of a bad interpretation. If anything, a lot of really odd, dry comedy and human moments are derived from him. Some of my favorite moments are when he interacts with the Oracle, in fact. He smiles and is patient and seems genuinely fascinated by what she has to say, and even lets her have wins here and there with the candy. And yeah, the scene scene where he's in the car and comments on the noodle shop is really cute. I don't care. Also, his relationship with Trinity is his best example of representing what it means to be truly human. As someone who has been married for over 10 years and considers my marriage to be the most important thing in my life, I fully respect and understand this. Neo goes out of his way multiple times to make Trinity his top priority. People say this is a negative trait, especially during the moments where he seemingly is willing to doom all of humanity just to save her, again. This is also a very bad read. I don't understand why people think that Neo would trust the father of the Matrix at his word when literally all we've ever seen him do is rebel against the machine. He fully intends to save both Trinity and humanity, just not in the way that he's supposed to. Neo is a rebel and always has been. He's just very dry. Out of all of our characters, Neo is the most lost and confused, and that's because unlike Smith or Morpheus, Neo is sort of forced into his position as the Messiah and the Chosen One. Morpheus makes the choice to find the One and to be Zion's leader. Smith makes the choice to rebel against his programming and chooses to destroy his home. Neo sorta chooses to free minds and red pill more people, but really, Neo is his most compelling when he doesn't know what he's supposed to do and has to make decisions with unclear and confusing information, which leads me into why Neo is so important as a protagonist. Neo isn't meant to be a complex and nuanced character. Neo is meant to be the vehicle of the themes of the Matrix, and that's the complexity of choice versus free will. Throughout the Matrix Trilogy, Neo is guided, or manipulated if you want to do that, by the agents, the Architect, the Oracle, and yes, even Morpheus. Despite Neo's free mind and the fact that he can see the world better than anyone else, he's still trapped within his role as the One. In the end, his final fight with Smith isn't really about defeating Smith or making peace or even saving humanity. The final conflict of the series is about making the choice to do so. Does he follow his destiny and save humanity? Or does he choose to be manipulated by the Oracle? Or does he choose the secret option and run away? My favorite part in all of this is that I think Neo knows that even if he does make peace with machines, it doesn't mean the conflict will end. The Matrix Online, and yes, even the new movie, shows that the fight is never really done. Do we self-actualize and achieve inner peace, or do we sacrifice our well-being in order to help humanity keep the light on just a bit longer? I love questions like this, and I'd like to think that the Wachowskis never actually gave us a concrete answer, because they know that giving a solid answer would just be taking away the choice to the question. That seems roundabout, and it seems a little kooky to say it out loud, but it does make sense in the context of The Matrix. Thank you all for watching this small trilogy of videos, and I hope you all go see Matrix Resurrections, because frankly, I can't wait. If you're wondering why I may not be responding to comments right away, it's because I'm probably in theaters right now watching the film. Thank you to all the patrons, and I'll see you next time.